We started the show yesterday talking about how the Dallas Cowboys, if they played like they played in Minnesota or anything close to it, they will give Jerry Jones what he's looking for, and they will send all the Cowboys haters on planet Earth into the fetal position, because Jerry Jones will be hoisting the Lombardi Trophy if they play like the way that they played in Minnesota. And then just as we're still having that performance figuratively ringing in our ears and in front of our eyes, the San Francisco 49ers put together a game that makes one think, that's a Super Bowl winning team. That's a team that if they play like that, no one can beat them. And wouldn't it be fascinating if the Cowboys and the 49ers wind up playing each other in the playoffs again? And I proffer to say the Cowboys would say, bring it on. Bring it on. Because they feel very confident in what they can do, because they do have a two-headed monster at running back, including a top-notch playmaker in Tony Pollard. And they do have a quarterback that can put it all together for some wide receivers that are performing well in a top-notch defense. However, I would say the 49ers have got them beat in many of those departments, because they have got themselves an offense that last night they put on display in Mexico City, and it was quite the hat dance, if you will, for this team. And Jimmy Garoppolo had a hat trick of touchdowns and then said, you know what, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
That's not good enough.
That bad boy.
He had 2 touchdown passes to Ayuk. Interesting, 2 being the operative number, because Ayuk on his second touchdown threw the ball in celebration directly at the wall and nearly hit a camera operator in the Bofas. And to the point where
did hit him.
I think it was a little bit off, but he and McCaffrey were present enough to check on the gentleman. And then George Kittle had 2 touchdowns in this game. It's kind of fitting that Kittle had a night, because the last time Garoppolo threw 4 touchdowns in a game was Week 14, 2019. If you recall, it was that 40-burger versus 40-burger, 49ers versus Saints. Drew Brees 5 touchdown passes in the Superdome. And if you recall, with 30 seconds to go, Garoppolo, driving the team, flipped one out in the flat to George Kittle, who runs up the sideline and got a 39-yard gain with half the defense hanging on his face mask. Do you remember that one in 2019?
Pretty much what happened yesterday.
And so that was the year that the Niners made the Super Bowl. And Jimmy Garoppolo looks like that. And the team has full-on belief in this man. What makes me say that? You could see it with your own 2 eyes. You could feel it. And then you just go to Debo's Twitter account today, and his Twitter account was very simple. He just put out the words, Himmy Guap. Instead of Jimmy G, he's Himmy, meaning he's him, and Guap means handsome in Spanish. Guapo.
And they played in Mexico last
Yes, they did. Himmy Guap, I think, was a very good Debo nickname. Himmy Guap is pretty good.
It's pretty funny.
They are feeling it. And isn't it amazing, man? That's why you can't predict any of this stuff. And we do love the NFL. And I call it the greatest narrative generating machine in the history of sports. And it is, because all offseason I was telling you this is Trey Lance's team. And it wound up being Trey Lance's team, to the point where Jimmy Garoppolo was 4th on the depth chart, because, as at the time, the head coach, Kyle Shanahan, said, it's because, that's where he has to be. They created basically 4th on the depth chart because they didn't even give him a playbook. They just knew he wasn't going to be there.
Yeah, the disrespect was real.
They knew he wasn't going to be there, and they were just holding on to him because they weren't going to just cut him and let him walk to, say, Seattle, was the whole conversation, because Seattle had a quarterback problem that everyone was saying. And sure enough, they kept him around because they needed him to back up Trey Lance if he was so inclined, rather than being cut. And the whole idea was that he'd be sitting on the couch right now still, potentially, waiting to see if there was a quarterback situation that he could rescue middle of the season, if he could, get up to speed in time, a la, say, Odell Beckham sitting here right now, picking and choosing where he might go to win a championship for a team that needs him. That was the whole conversation throughout the spring and then the summer. And then Garoppolo says, you know what, it's better if I just stay. The Niners say, we are happy to have you stay just in case there's an injury. And then boom, week 2, an injury. And the team that he injures himself against is Seattle. And the team that they are now tied with in the NFC West standings is, wait for it, Seattle. Because Seattle doesn't have a quarterback problem. Geno Smith has been pretty damn good, to the point where if Geno Smith throws 150 straight passes, I saw this today, 150 straight passes, 150 straight snaps into the stands. If he just takes 150 straight snaps and throws the ball into the stands, Geno Smith would still have a higher passer rating than Zach Wilson.
Oh, wow.
So this is amazing.
Jeez.
Now, in that week 2 game that Lance got carted off and Garoppolo came in, the Niners beat the Seahawks. So that's why the Niners are currently in first place with a similar record as the Seahawks. Week 15, if you want to look down the road, begins on a Thursday night with Al Michaels on the Amazon Prime Video microphone, where San Francisco's at Seattle. Make a note of that. That is a huge game coming up in December. But for the moment, what the Niners look like is a Super Bowl team because the defense is out freaking standing too. They can come hunt you. They can come hit you. They can come and steal your souls. And they did that to Colt McCoy last night and the rest of the Arizona Cardinals. They did it. Third straight game in which the Niners pitched a shutout in the second half. We take your second half halftime adjustments and stick them where the sun does not shine, is what they're basically saying
real nice
to everyone else. And 3 straight wins since acquiring McCaffrey, who did play in that game against the Chiefs, we all know, but that was a very short week. They got bounced by the Chiefs, and since then they've won 3 in a row, with McCaffrey having full weeks on the team. And good luck trying to game plan for them if Jimmy G is as accurate with the football and is as stout as we saw last night. Good luck to the rest of the NFC, and including your Cowboys. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.